Good morning, students. As you all know, we have already started with the chapter Our Environment, chapter 15. We have completed what will happen when we add our waste to the environment. Then we discussed about role of enzymes. Then we discussed about ecosystem, what are its component, okay, and then we discussed about the role of producers, consumers. Now we will discuss about the role of decomposers. Now listen here, if I talk about artificial ecosystem, right, for example an aquarium, the fishes are there, the plants may be there, we keep artificial plants, and we always keep a motor, a motor which is going to blow oxygen, air into the water. Now here, if suppose a fish dies in the same aquarium, what do you do? Do you think that the decomposers will be decomposing that fish, or shall we leave the fish as it is in the aquarium? It is going to stink, and once it stings, it will affect other fishes also which are living in the aquarium. So what we usually do, we usually remove it out and then we dump it, right? But the thing is what here, that we don't do this thing, we do not carry out in a pond. In a pond, if the organism dies, if the plant dies here, we have decomposers which act as scavengers. They will eat those complex substances and they will make it into simple substances. Just imagine what will happen if decomposers are not there. It will be a chaos, right? The chaos will be what? Suppose leaves are falling from the tree, okay, and they do not decompose. Just imagine, they everywhere you will see heaps and heaps of garbage. It is not undergoing decomposition. What will happen here? The nutrient cycling will be stopped, and every year, everywhere you will see garbage and garbage. So decomposers are very important. They help in returning back the nutrients to the soil, as well as they help in cleaning, okay, they help in cleaning the environment. Now children, come to page number 258. Let us underline last paragraph, okay. Imagine the situation where you do not clean the aquarium and some fish and plants have died. Have you ever thought what happens when an organism dies? The microorganisms, please underline from here. The microorganisms comprising bacteria and fungi break down the dead remains and waste products of organisms. These microorganisms are the decomposers, as they break down the complex organic substances into simple inorganic substances that go into the soil and are used up once more by the plants. Fine. Let's move to the next topic, food chain and web. A food chain, okay, which chain are we talking about? Let's see now. A food chain is the flow of food energy from one organism to the next and to the next and so on. They usually start with the producer. Can you see here producers? The grass is the producer here, and end up with the carnivore. In a food chain, an organism gets food from one group of organisms. As you all know, we have discussed producers, consumers and decomposers. So here grass is a producer. Can you see grass? Yes, see the food chain. It is eaten by deer. Deer is a primary consumer, and then deer will be eaten by lion and it is a secondary consumer. It's a food chain. Second example, grass producer eaten by insects. Insect will be eaten by a frog. Can you see primary consumer, secondary consumer, and then frog will be eaten by a snake. It's a tertiary consumer. And when they will die, it will be decomposed by decomposers. Third food chain, grass is being eaten by moth. Moth is being eaten by frog. Moth is a primary consumer, frog is a secondary consumer. Then snake, tertiary consumer, hawk is the quaternary consumer. So you saw, remember these examples. They may ask you in the exam here, give a food chain comprising of 3 trophic levels. Now I've used the word trophic levels. Can you tell me what is trophic level? Each step or level of the food chain forms a trophic level. This is a trophic level, this is a trophic level, deer is a trophic level, lion is a trophic level. So each step or level of the food chain forms the trophic level. Come to page number 259, all of you, second paragraph. The autotrophs or the producers are at the first trophic level. They are at the first trophic level. They fix up the solar energy and make it available for heterotrophs or the consumers. The herbivores or the primary consumers come at the second. Small carnivores or the secondary consumers at the third. And larger carnivores or the tertiary consumers forms the fourth trophic level. Right? Now here we will be talking about food web also. Let's see. Thus, the food we eat acts as a fuel to provide us energy to do work. Without food, nobody can work, no organism can work. Thus, the interactions among various components of the environment involves flow of energy from one component of the system to another. What autotrophs are going to do? They are going to capture the energy in the sunlight and convert it into chemical energy. This energy supports all the activities of the living world. From autotrophs, what will happen? Autotrophs are the organisms which prepare their own food. From autotrophs, energy goes to the heterotrophs, and then from the heterotrophs it goes to the decomposers. Are you getting my point? So when one form of energy is changed to another, some energy is lost to the environment in forms which cannot be used again. The flow of energy between various components of the environment is studied, and you can see these 3 points. It's very important. We'll study in the next slide. You can see in this slide it is not so clear, but still I think you can read better than me. A terrestrial food chain. Plant is being eaten by the herbivore. Herbivore is being eaten by here the carnivore. Carnivore, can you see, primary consumer, secondary consumer, and then the tertiary consumer. Snake is being eaten by a hawk, right? Then we have a marine food chain. See, in the board exam they may ask you, give example of a marine food chain, give example of a terrestrial food chain. So at least you should include 3-4 trophic levels. They will mention that. Phytoplanktons, plants, okay. Zooplanktons, these are found in the water. Then it will be eaten by a carnivore. Fish, can you see, a bigger fish, and then further bigger fish. So primary producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers, and quaternary consumers. Then we have trophic level. Primary producer, can you see this? Primary consumer, secondary consumer. We have grass, grasshopper, rat, snake, hawk. We have discussed this. Then pond food chain here is algae, mosquito larva, dragonfly larva. Just imagine mosquito larva is being eaten by dragonfly larva. Dragonfly larva is being eaten by a fish. And then fish is eaten by a raccoon. Then ocean biome we have phytoplankton, zooplankton, fish, seal, white shark. So these are different type of food chain which is existing in the environment. You can see here this also. Producers, periwinkle plants. Primary consumers, moth will come. Secondary consumers, moth will be eaten by the frog. Tertiary consumer, frog will be eaten by the snake. Quaternary consumer, snake will be eaten by the hawk. And when they will die, it is going to be decomposed by bacteria and fungi. You can see here also food chain. Producers when they will die, decomposers. Then we have primary consumers when it is going to die. We have decomposers, secondary consumer when they die, decomposers, tertiary consumer. Can you see this? Very nicely they have explained. So please keep in your mind. I hope you are getting what I am trying to convey. You can see in this slide, there are interconnections. Can you see there are n number of food chain being, shown here, but they all are interconnected because one organism is being eaten by many other organisms. It is not so here that this owl is going to eat this bird, right? And this beetle will be eaten. This beetle can be eaten by other organisms also. If you see this grasshopper is being eaten by this rat also. Okay, food web is a group of several interconnected food chain. Please all of you note down this. Food web is a group of several interconnected food chains. In a food web, an organism gets food from more than one group of organisms. That means one organism is being eaten by many other organisms. Can you see this interconnection? Can you see this? Corn is being eaten by, rice is being eaten by this grasshopper also, mouse also. You can see here also butterfly is being eaten by, snake is being eaten by so many animals, right? So this is food web. The length and complexity of food chains vary greatly. Each organism is generally eaten by 2 or more other kinds of organisms, which in turn are eaten by several other organisms. So instead of a straight line food chain, the relationship can be shown as a series of branching lines called a food web. Very nicely they have shown. Please remember what is food chain and what is food web. Trophic levels, as you all know, each step in a food chain where transfer of food energy takes place is called trophic level. Each step, okay. The first trophic level consists of producers. The second trophic level consists of primary consumers. The third trophic level consists of secondary consumers. The fourth trophic level consists of tertiary consumers. Please don't get confused. Tertiary consumer, fourth trophic level. Secondary consumer, third trophic level. So it can be asked in the exam also. Since the transfer of food energy decreases at every trophic level, the number of trophic levels are limited and do not exceed 4 or 5. Now this is very important point which they have mentioned here. See what happens here. The green plants in a terrestrial ecosystem, they capture 1% of the total available energy. If 100% sunlight is falling, they are going to capture only 1%, right? And then they are going to convert it into food energy. When green plants are eaten by primary consumers, a great deal of energy is lost as heat to the environment. Some amount goes into digestion and in doing work, and the rest goes towards growth and reproduction. That means only 10% will be available for the next trophic level. Rest 90% goes as heat, digestion, doing work, rest, growth and reproduction. Are you getting my point? So on an average, 10% of energy is available. This law is known as 10% law. Therefore, 10% can be taken as the average value for the amount of organic matter that is present at each step and reaches the next level of consumers. Can you see this figure 15.2? Producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers and tertiary consumers. The amount of energy goes on decreasing. If it is here, at producer level, if it is 5,000 kilojoules, primary consumers 10% of it, then secondary consumers 10% of the previous level, 10% of the previous level to the tertiary consumers, right? So here you can see energy. Can you see this pyramid? Producers, high energy, primary consumers, secondary consumers. Can you see the level of energy goes down? Large energy to the producers. Population also is less. Producers will be more in number also, right? And slowly if you go to tertiary consumers, can you see? So here there the number will be less. So we have a pyramid of energy, we have pyramid of number, we have pyramid of biomass and so on. Okay. Let's talk about energy flow in the trophic levels. As we have discussed, green plants producers absorb about 1% of solar energy falling on the leaves and stores it as food energy during photosynthesis. During the transfer of food energy from one trophic level to the next, 90% of the energy is lost to the environment and only 10% is transferred to the next trophic level. So, there is a decrease in the amount of food energy transferred at every trophic level by 10%. This is known as the 10% law. It's a 3-mark question also. You can see here producers. Can you see this middle diagram? Grass produces 1000 kilocalorie of energy. Next level of consumers here, primary consumers, they will be having only 100 kilocalorie. Secondary consumers 10 kilocalorie, tertiary consumers 1 kilocalorie. That is why in a food chain it will have 4 to 5 trophic levels. Otherwise, if it is having more number of trophic levels, the organisms at the end, they will not be receiving any energy. So it is of no use to eat that food, because they are not going to get the energy. So a food chain will have 4 to 5 trophic levels only. Okay, just turn the page, come to page number 260. Yes, second point you can read. First one, let's read the first point. Since so little energy is available for the next level of consumers, food chains generally consist of only 3 or 4 steps. The loss of energy at each step is so great that very little usable energy remains after 4 trophic levels. There are generally a greater number of individuals at the lower trophic level of an ecosystem. The greatest number will be of producers. Please underline this. Now let's talk about the energy flow diagram in the next slide. So children, let us see the last point. Okay, you can come to page number 260 from the energy flow diagram, right? two things become very clear. Firstly, the flow of energy is unidirectional. That's the first point, please underline. Energy always flows from one trophic level to another trophic level. It won't be available to the previous trophic level. It always flows in one direction. The energy that is captured by the autotrophs does not revert back to the solar input, and the energy which passes to the herbivores does not come back to autotrophs. Remember this. Second point here, as it moves progressively through the various trophic levels, it is no longer available to the previous level. Okay children, I hope you have understood. Now come to page number 261. In text questions are there. What are trophic levels? You can write that. Give an example of a food chain and state the different trophic levels in it. That also I have mentioned in the slide. You can copy it down. Otherwise you can note down the food chain from the textbook also. Question number 2. What is the role of decomposers in the ecosystem? We have already discussed in the first slide. Please children write that in detail. It's a 2-mark question. So write 2 points. They've asked only one but you mentioned 2. Okay children, let's see one video.